Good morning. This is Dan Larson, and this is today's Quiet Echo. A husband and wife sat down across from my desk last week, and for a good long while, neither one of them said the thing they had actually come to say. We talked all around it: the weather, the boys' baseball, the heat, and then the wife looked down at her own hands and she said it very quietly. We are in trouble with money, and we have not been able to say it out loud to each other, so we came here to say it to you. Now, I have sat with a great many people over a great many years, and I will tell you something. Of all the heavy burdens people carry into my office, money is the one they are the most ashamed of. More than grief, sometimes even more than sin. A man will confess a real failing to me long before he will ever admit he does not understand his own bank statement. So a study caught my eye this spring. For 10 years running now, a group of researchers has given American adults a short little quiz about ordinary money, the plain everyday stuff of a household, saving and borrowing and weighing a risk. And this year the country got fewer than half of it right, the lowest score in the whole 10 years they have been asking. And the young, the very ones you would assume grew up perfectly fluent in all of it, they did the worst of anybody. Now the easy sermon just about writes itself. Put down the phone, open a book, learn to make a budget, and there is some truth in it, I will grant you. But I do not believe the number is really about arithmetic at all. I believe it is about silence, and underneath the silence I believe it is about shame. Because somewhere along the way, we decided being bad with money is the same thing as being a bad person. Lazy, foolish, less than, when the plain truth is, most of us were simply never taught. Nobody sat us down, and you cannot be ashamed of failing a test nobody ever gave you. Because here is what I see from my chair. It is not a matter of people being unable to learn this. It is a matter of almost nobody admitting right out loud they never did. The young father at the lone desk nods right along at words he does not know, because to stop and ask would be to look like less of a man in front of his own wife. The widow lets the statements pile up, unopened, on the kitchen counter, because her husband always handled it, and now she is ashamed at 70 years old to say she simply does not know how. Half a country, give or take, is quietly pretending to understand a thing it does not. Every one of them alone. Every one of them dead certain he is the only one in the room faking it. And here, now, is the cruelest part of the whole business. The shame convinces you are the only one. And it is a lie. The number says the exact opposite. If fewer than half of us can pass the little quiz, then the person sitting right beside you in the pew, the one who looks so perfectly put together, is very likely just as lost as you are, and every bit as afraid to say so. Let me tell you something I do not say from a great height. I have sat where those two sat. There have been things in my own life, money among them, which I nodded along to for years, pretending I understood, because I was embarrassed to be a grown man who did not. And I will tell you, the day I finally said the words out loud to someone I trusted was not the day I felt smaller. It was the day the weight came off. The pretending, it turns out, was the heavy part, not the not knowing. Because I have learned one thing about the burdens people carry in secret. Whatever the burden happens to be, the secret is always heavier than the thing itself. The debt is real, but it is the silence around the debt which breaks the marriage. The not knowing is real, but it is the shame of the not knowing which keeps a person from ever learning. So the couple at my desk went and did the very bravest thing a couple can do. They said it out loud, not to a banker, not yet, to each other, at long last, in my little office, with me sitting there as a witness, and I watched something lift right up off their shoulders in the saying of it, something no amount of money in the world would ever have lifted. So here is what I would ask of you this morning, and it will not cost you one thin dime. Sometime this week, find the thing you have been quietly pretending to understand in your money or anywhere else at all in your life, and say the 4 hardest words in the whole language to somebody you trust. I do not understand. Say them to a wife, a husband, a grown child, a friend who is good with numbers. You will not look like less. You will look like a person who is finally setting down a stone he has been carrying all alone for years. And then, please be the other kind of person too. Be the one your own neighbor can say those 4 words to without so much as a flicker of judgment crossing your face. Be the pew he can turn to. Half of us are pretending. You can be the one who makes it safe, at last, to stop. The couple came back to church on Sunday, still in trouble, still with a long, long road out ahead of them. But they were talking now, and talking, it turns out, is right where the road begins. The front porch is open. What is the thing you have quietly been pretending to understand? Come and tell us. And if we get something wrong, tell us, and we will run the correction. The readers of the Cedar Valley News are gathering to share their stories and keep company with respect and no party lines. Come sit with us. I will put the link in the show notes. This is Dan Larson, your host for today's Quiet Echo. Thanks for listening. Quiet Echo is part of the fictional Cedar Valley News series, written by Evan Swenson, publisher, and Claude Marshall, AI developmental editor. While the people and town of Cedar Valley are fictional, the study is real. The 2026 TIAA Institute GFLEC Personal Finance Index, released in May and marking the survey's 10th year, found U.S. adults answered fewer than half of its 28 basic personal finance questions correctly. On average, the lowest result in the survey's history, with financial knowledge lowest among the youngest adults. This episode reflects on the human dimension of those findings and offers no financial advice.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open. This is Cedar Valley News.